or threatening to invade Ethiopia. Hello and welcome to this news hour. I'm Daniel Kasahun with the news. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed inaugurates the long overdue Tana Balance sugar factory on Sunday. The plant is designed to produce 12,000 tons of sugar per day when it goes fully operational. Demis Mokri has more.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, along with other government officials, inaugurated the 19 billion birr long overdue Tana Balance sugar factory. The plant, which is located in the Amhara regional state, is believed to crush 160,000 tons of sugarcane and producing 12,000 tons of sugar per day. During the inauguration ceremony, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said government is striving to finalize ongoing mega projects of a nation, like the already completed Tana Balance sugar plant.
ይህ ፕሮጀክት የተወጠነው የዛሬ 60 ዓመት ገደማ ነው። የዛሬ 60 ዓመት ንጉሱ በዚህ አካባቢ ሰፋ ያለ ስራ እንዲሰራ ውጥን ተወጥኖ
The inception of this Tana Balance sugar plant went 60 years back to the reign of Emperor Haile Selassie. It couldn't be materialized back then due to internal and external challenges. When the construction of this plant was commenced 10 years ago, it was supposed to be finalized in 18 months' time, but the construction was sluggish because of many reasons. After we embarked on the reform a couple of years ago, we reevaluated the project and get everything done in a year and a half. I want to congratulate all who took part in this effort, and we will continue achieving similar outcomes ahead together.
ተገምግሞ ስራውን ያዘው ሜቴክ የተሰኘው ኮንትራክተር ስራውን እንዲያቋርጥ ተደርጎ
Tana Balance sugar plant is believed to address the growing sugar demand in the country and facilitate more jobs for citizens. Amhara Regional State Chief Agenyo Tashagar said Tana Balance will have multifaceted benefits to the nearby local communities in particular and to the entire country at large. He forwarded his appreciation to National Sugar Development Corporation and Tana Balance sugar plant project managers for their relentless effort to make the overdue plant a success.
የስኳር ፋብሪካ ለክልላችን ህዝብና መንግስት ከፍተኛ አስተዋጽኦ የሚያበረክት ሲሆን በሚፈጥረው ከፍተኛ የሆነ የሥራ ዕድል ዘርፈ ብዙ የሆነ የኢኮኖሚ እንቅስቃሴና
This sugar plant will have an enormous blessing to our region in terms of job creation and industrial increase. The plant will not give us only sugar, but its byproducts will also enable us to produce ethanol, sanitizer, alcohol, and related products, among other things. I want to call on investors to be part of this effort and take this opportunity to enrich our region and nation. My appreciation also goes to those who contribute their share to make this project a reality.
ቋዳሽ እንድትሆኑ ጥሬን ላስተላልፍ እፈልጋለሁ።
Tana Balance sugar development project needs more than 21,000 hectares of sugarcane when it goes fully operational, and the project is said to start producing 45 megawatt of electric power using byproducts of the sugar factory in the near future.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, accompanied by senior government officials, visited the progress of the construction of Magach Dam earlier yesterday, which is supposed to bring a significant impact in irrigation agriculture in the state of Amhara. The construction of the dam was long overdue as it was deprived of proper attention from the government over the years. The construction, according to the project supervisor, Teodros Tadela, is now going well. The new leadership is committed to finalize delayed projects. Project manager Tsagay Makonnen for his part confirmed that the project will be finalized in the coming 5 months if it keeps its current pace. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed wrote on his social media page that the construction of the dam has been accelerating for the past 1 year since the government began serious follow-ups through monitoring and evaluating activities. Upon completion, the dam, with a capacity of 185 million cubic meters of water, is said to be vital to increase the supply of safe drinking water and irrigate the lowland areas.
Hi, my name's Brooke Thomas Haftowed. I was born and raised in the UK. I do not like what the Egyptians are doing to Ethiopia. This is my dam.
It's my dam. It's my dam.
It's my dam.
It's my dam. It's my dam.
It is my dam. It is my dam.
It's my dam.
I feel very proud that Ethiopia has gotten where she is now, because back in the days, obviously, Ethiopia didn't have many things. It was very a poor country, and now it's getting richer and richer because many more educated, smarter people are coming, and people are learning more things that Ethiopia is a very amazing country. We just have to figure it out, and we just have to show other countries that we can be better than America, better than...
Welcome back. You are watching this news hour. Sudan's Foreign Minister Mariam Al-Sadiq Al-Mahdi affirmed on Saturday Khartoum must endeavor to peacefully settle the grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam disputes through the mediation of the African Union. Al-Mahdi's remarks came during a virtual meeting with her Moroccan counterpart Nasser Bourita, who was briefed on developments on the grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dams file. Egypt's irrigation minister Mohammed Abdullati also expressed on Saturday Cairo's keenness to resume good negotiations, which was deadlocked in April. Ethiopia is only 3 weeks away from executing second-year filling of its mega dam. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is instrumental for stronger regional power integration. South Sudanese ambassador to Ethiopia, James Peter Morgan, made the remark in an exclusive interview with ETV English. The issue of the Grand Renaissance Dam should only be solved by Africans alone, and resorting to other options can only imply other hidden agenda behind it, the ambassador has stressed. Shfarao Lagao has interviewed the ambassador to bring us the following report.
Ethiopia has been consistent in its stance when it comes to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. It says that it will build this huge dam to lift millions out of the poverty line. Now, in between the two nations is Sudan, which at first was supporting the construction of this huge mega dam, but later it changed its stance, and now it is siding with Egypt. Now, South Sudan is also one of the neighbors of Ethiopia, and I have interviewed the ambassador about the nation's stance on this mega project that Ethiopia is building, and I'm here in the compound of the embassy, and he told me that the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has multifaceted benefits to Ethiopia, and the ambassador also told me that Ethiopia should press ahead with filling and building this Grand Renaissance Dam.
The benefits of the dam were anchored into its first reason which led to its construction. Ethiopia said it has got 65 million people living in darkness. And for that matter, they want to generate electricity. And that electricity, once generated, of course, Ethiopia will export it to the region. It will export it to the region. I think that was the real reason why Ethiopia wanted to make sure that this dam was built. And there's nothing new from what led to the construction of the dam. It was on the electricity, and once generated, Ethiopia intends to export it to the region.
He also told me that the issues of the three nations should be solved using the trilateral negotiation under the auspices of the African Union.
One thing that we need to mention here is the position of the three countries are different. Sudan was asking for the legal matters to be settled. Egypt was asking for technical matters to be settled. Now, these legal matters and the technical matters, what is technical and what is legal? And if it is legal, what is difficult to find the legal solutions? And if it is technical, what is difficult to find technical solutions? Because everything has got a solution. Legal issues, we have legal experts. In all Africa, including even the African Union, we have the legal council. The legal council of the African Union can sit together with the legal team of Sudan and Egypt and Ethiopia so that they look at the legal aspect which they are talking about. If it is technical, we have technical people in Africa here. In Egypt, we have technical people. In Ethiopia, we have technical people. In African Union, we have technical people. Why these people don't come together and look at the technical problems? There is a solution for every problem. If that is really the matter, there is nothing that we cannot find a solution for it.
In this episode, we'll be looking into the decorations and tools used by the Ma'inid, an ethnic group living in Ma'inid Special District of Bench Maji Zone, South Nations Nationalities and Peoples Region. Women decorate their arm with silver-made bracelets. Also, they wear beads on their necks.
እጃቸው ላይ አምበር ያርጋሉ ጨሌ ባንገታቸው ላይ ሰርቶ በጣም ይጠቀማሉ በተለይ ለልጃገረድ ደርሳ ያገባችሁ ልጅ አንገታቸው ላይ ጨሌ ያድርጋሉ
Men in Ma'inid make frequent use of chaka, a wooden stool-like thing. The men use it as a stool or alternatively as a pillow.
ቁጭልና በዚህ በመቀመጫ ቁጭላል ባለቤቱ ጨሞ ያመጣል ጎርበስ ሲመቱም በዛ በመቀመጫ በእንግዲነት ካሉም አዲስ አመቱ ይሰጥና ይቀመጡበትና ጨሞውን ይሰጣ በጋራ አብሮ ይጠጣል
The Ma'inid men often carry the chaka wherever they go. The Ma'inid are also famous for using the mafakia, a natural wooden toothbrush used in Ethiopia.
መፋቂያ በጣም የተለመደ ነው በእኛ ብሔረሰብ አይተን እንደሆነ ጥርስ በጣም ነጭ ነው ጥርሱ በረዶ ነው የማንንም ሰው ጥርስ በረዶ ነው ምክንያቱም በጣም ነው የመፋቂያ ልማድ አለ
This is the live transmission of this news hour. A professor of political science at the State University of California, Almayo Gabramariam, rebukes NATO for threatening to invade Ethiopia. In his recent comments, Almayo said, Western powers are using conflict-related sexual violence and famine as tagline to bring regime change in Ethiopia like what they did 30 years ago. Kasan Chani has more.
A renowned political science scholar and analyst Almayo Gabramariam, nicknamed Almariam, is trying to expose Western conspiracy to bring regime change in Ethiopia. In his commentary, Almariam indicated that not always threatening to invade Ethiopia under the disguise of sexual violence and famine in the state of Tigray, where the Ethiopian government has been undertaking a law enforcement operation. Almayo quoted a tweet by Lord Tariq Ahmed on June 3, 2021 to support his speculation of NATO planning to invade Ethiopia. The tweet reads, conflict-related sexual violence is abhorrent and unacceptable in our world. This week, United Kingdom and NATO ministers agreed powerful action to stand up to these brutal crimes and ensure we can protect and support victims and survivors today and in the future. Almariam said the United States, European Union and United Kingdom have launched a new campaign of the feminist sky is falling on Ethiopia, like what they did 30 years ago with the TPLF mafia group to collect millions of dollars and split it together. One of the TPLF founders, Dr. Agai Berhe, told the BBC that of the $100 million that went through TPLF hands to mitigate famine in Tigray, $95 million was diverted for weapons, purchases and other purposes not related to famine relief. The truth is, Almariam said Europeans have never forgiven Ethiopia for destroying a white army on the Black Continent. The Ethiopians defeated the mighty Italian army at the Battle of Adwa in 1896 in less than 24 hours. The Second Italo-Ethiopian War lasted 5 years, but Italy again was defeated. What the Axis, G7 and NATO forces are doing in 2021 was done back in 1985 within the same mode of operation. Throughout history, Ethiopia has been the lodestar, the pole star of Africa. Anti-colonial struggles were inspired by Ethiopia's independence and freedom. They knew deep in their hearts if Ethiopia can remain free, they can one day gain their freedom. Today, Ethiopia is charting the course of the African skies. Ethiopia is a shining example of freedom in Africa. Ethiopia is a userocracy, a government of the people, by the users and for the people. The amazing Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is charting a new course not only for Ethiopia, but all of Africa with his Madamar philosophy. Ethiopians will for the first time in their history have an election that is free and fair. With the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance done, Ethiopia will unquestionably become the star of Africa. The Axis must ensure Ethiopia fails and is destroyed. The way Ethiopia goes, so does the rest of Africa.
A renowned historian, Ababa Yaleo, slams the current U.S. measures to impose visa restrictions and economic sanctions against Ethiopia. In an exclusive interview with ETV English, the historian suggested the United States government to reconsider and re-evaluate its latest statements on Ethiopia's domestic affairs. Allah Teklamariam reports.
Large number of Ethiopians are increasingly voicing against the latest U.S. government's measures which impose visa restrictions on Ethiopian government officials. Scholars and government officials have joined the pressure group against the U.S. government's decisions on Ethiopia's domestic affairs. Assistant Professor Ababa Yale is among the Ethiopian scholars who boldly slammed the U.S.-led pressure over Ethiopia.
The kind of restriction and economic sanction that they wanted to implement in Ethiopia is not appropriate at all. So what would be better is to negotiate and then also to find out the reality on ground and then to evaluate what the TPLF did and in what ways the Ethiopian government responded, and then based on that to forge the way out of the current situation. and then also to continue to cooperate at a regional level for the peace and security of the Horn of Africa. And America also should give respect to what Ethiopia has been doing for the peace and security of the region, not only East Africa and the Horn of Africa, but also for West Africa. So we have been together in Korea in the 1960s. So we have a lot of experience in terms of working together. So they should not be misled by what lobbyists say, and then also what some paid diplomats also say about the present Ethiopian government and Abiy's administration.
Ababao further explained the international community's misperception towards the fact on the ground in Tigray in connection to human rights violations, mentioning convicted criminals who have been released by TPLF to be accountable for their crimes and atrocities.
So the American visa restriction and then also other forms of economic sanctions which they are saying to implement in Ethiopia unless conditions improve in Tigray. For me and then also for any reasonable person, for any reasonably rational person, comes from two things which are completely wrong. So the first, as I told you, is that what is the source of information that they got about the humanitarian crisis in Tigray? So most of the information is an information that was fed by those people who are affiliated to TPLF leadership, and these people has misinformed the international media, whatever media, Middle Eastern medias, Western medias, or whatever. And then the second thing, one should also ask that who was responsible for the violation of human rights in Tigray first. When in October 2020, when the crisis started in northern Ethiopia and when the Ethiopian government was forced to take a law enforcement action, what the TPLF did was they released convicted criminals. These convicted criminals were the first and the most responsible ones for the violation of human rights.
He also appreciated Ethiopians in home and abroad for voicing their national agenda in different aspects.
It should be appreciated because this is a matter of sovereignty. You see, sovereignty in the sense that why did we deserve this one? You know, a sovereign country, a sovereign government should take action on forces that destabilize the country. So the TPLF for several years was destabilizing the country, and then very recently they had been doing all in their capacity to dismember the nation. And then also they have openly declared that they did not belong to the Ethiopian nation in many ways.
The military attaches based in Addis Ababa have praised Ethiopia's long-term commitment and sacrifices to ensure peace in Africa and in the world at large, following the visit of members of the Association of Military Attaches of various countries to the Ethiopian International Peacekeeping Training Center. Defense attaches of different countries said Ethiopian men and women have played an important role in advancing peace in the world's hotspots from the early days of United Nations peacekeeping up to today's most vital operations. In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, they pointed out that Ethiopians have even served Korea, and they went that far to ensure peace in the world, not only in Africa. Commenting on the recent doubts raised by some entities that Ethiopia is busy in its own internal security issues, they said the recent internal engagement of the country has been to contain peace and security within the nation. Tiffany Haddish, an African-American comedian and actress, got praised by Black Lives Matter activists this week for criticizing a racist U.S. foreign policy against Africa. President Joe Biden's administration has come under fire for imposing economic sanctions against Ethiopia and Eritrea while providing billions of dollars to Egypt. At the center of the controversy is a major hydroelectric dam on the Nile River built by Ethiopia for electricity and to get out of poverty. Egypt has threatened to use a US-funded Air Force to blow up Ethiopian development projects as well as use Sudan to invade Ethiopia. For decades, Western-funded Arab countries like Egypt have monopolized the Nile River, while black African countries like Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Uganda, and others have been banned from using the river. Tiffany, whose parents have Eritrean roots, expressed her opposition online to Western policies that hurt black African countries. Other black activists also noted the racist hypocrisy that Western nations expect global solidarity to condemn armed interactions and terrorists targeting white countries in Europe and America, but they legitimize rebels and terrorists in African countries like Ethiopia. The African Union Commission, AUC, announced that it has approved the government of Ethiopia's invitation to deploy election observers for the general election in the country. AUC chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat approved the deployment of both long and short-term African Union observers to the general election in Ethiopia scheduled for 21st June 2021. The mission is in Ethiopia to undertake observation and analysis of key aspects of the electoral process, particularly the political environment, electoral legal framework, the effectiveness and transparency of electoral preparation and administration. This is according to a statement from the African Union. This analysis will form a key part of the African Union's overall assessment of the conduct of the 21st June 2021 election in Ethiopia. According to the African Union's statement, the long-term observation mission will be deployed in teams to cover different locations in the country. In business, the Ethiopian Finance Minister Ahmed Shide received a delegation from the European Union Business Forum led by Eric Hubbers. The EU Business Forum started operation in Ethiopia in 2021, comprising close to 300 member companies drawn from several European countries engaged in several areas of investment. The forum has been serving as a bridge between the companies and the government in line with addressing shortcomings and complaints raised by both sides based on the memorandum of understanding signed between the syndicate and the respective government institutions. Members of the delegate pledged commitment to contribute their share in making Ethiopia the best chosen investment destination and jointly work with the ministry in doing so. They also appreciated Ethiopia's privatization program. Ahmed Shide briefed the members of the delegation on the transformative reform in the finance and economic sector of the country and expressed the government's interest to work hand in hand with the forum. The two agreed to collaborate in facilitating conducive investment climate in Ethiopia. Welcome back. You are watching at this news hour. Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused the United States of double standards. He said it was wrong for the United States to criticize crackdowns on anti-government protesters overseas while persecuting Americans with political demand. Speaking at a business forum in St. Petersburg, Mr. Putin set expectations low for his summit with United States President Joe Biden in Geneva, Switzerland. He said he expected no breakthroughs when the two meet on 16 June. Let's take a look. President Putin reserved some of his most stinging criticism for United States condemnation of a crackdown on anti-government protesters by Moscow's regional ally Belarus. He hit back by suggesting the United States Capitol rioters were being treated unfairly. When the forum moderator at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum suggested Mr. Putin's comments about the Capitol riot could see him banned from United States social media platforms, the Russian leader drew applause from the audience by retorting, "I don't give a damn about being blocked somewhere." Earlier this week, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said the Capitol rioters were being persecuted by the United States government. Some 500 suspects have been arrested for the riot, most of them charged with entering or remaining in a restricted building or grounds. Many have been released pending trial, but some are being held in solitary confinement. A member of Mr. Biden's own Democratic Party, Senator Elizabeth Warren, has said some of the defendants were being subjected to cruel treatment. Opposition protests across Russia earlier this year were suppressed with crackdowns. Riot police were seen beating and dragging protesters away while thousands of people were detained. The Russian leader told business leaders that protesters in Europe have faced an even tougher police response with some shot in the eye by rubber bullets. The Russian leader's comments come ahead of his first meeting on 16 June with President Biden since the latter's election. Mr. Putin said he expected no breakthroughs in the meeting to improve the extremely low level of relations between the two nations. He also accused the United States of trying to stifle Russia's economy and influence its domestic politics. But he suggested the summit could focus on areas of mutual interest such as fighting climate change, the coronavirus pandemic, and terrorism. Despite the tough words, the Russian leader praised Mr. Biden as a very experienced statesman who has been involved in politics for his entire life. And finally, a reminder of the headlines. Prime Minister Abiy inaugurates the long overdue Tana Belez sugar factory. A renowned political science professor speculates NATO threatening to invade Ethiopia. That's all for this edition. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and stay safe.
Hello, wonderful young people of Africa. This is Africa Enchained TV show. I'm your host, Gary. Today we are going to go through different programs. But before we move on to the next session, please watch this.
There are only two animals on the planet that the Creator identified himself with. The first one is the eagle. The eagle. And the second animal is the lion. And when I identified those two animals as his favorite to identify himself with, I recognized I better study these two animals, because if he is the leader of the universe and I want to be a leader on earth, I better find out the nature of these animals and also the attitude of these animals. And I discovered that both of them are the kings of their domain. The eagle is the king of the bird kingdom, and the lion is the king of the animal kingdom. But let's talk a little bit about the lion. The lion has what I call the spirit of leadership. And this word spirit here is referring to attitude. Everybody say attitude. A leader has an attitude that makes him or her different from followers. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion to me is a great source of encouragement to all of us. I want you to write this down. Remember this as long as you live. Number one, the lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. Number two, the lion is not the largest animal in the jungle. Number three, the lion is not the heaviest animal in the jungle. Number four, the lion is not the smartest animal or the most intelligent animal in the jungle. And yet, when he shows up, they all run away. Well, here's one of my favorite quotes that I put in my books, and I believe it really brings home the point. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. And the answers to that dilemma is this: because leadership can transform cowards into violent warriors. The right kind of leadership can transform a timid into bold people who are fearless. Leadership is that powerful. Leadership can walk into a camp of depressed people, and in 20 minutes they have turned on into unbelievable, powerful armies, because leadership determines everything. The lion is the king of the jungle because of one word: attitude. Everybody say attitude. Write it down. Attitude. The lion has a different attitude that makes every animal afraid of him. Now, we don't want to lead by fear, but it does take respect for you to become a leader. When I use the word fear in the jungle, we're talking about respect. The elephant respects the lion. The hyenas respect the lion. The giraffes, they respect the lion. What makes these massive animals respect such a small cat? The attitude is the difference. For example, a lion will see an elephant, and the thing that comes to his mind, one word: lunch. I could eat this thing. And he acts the way he thinks. Now, here's another amazing mystery. The elephant is larger, bigger, stronger, more powerful, heavier, and more intelligent. And yet, when the elephant sees the lion, one word comes to mind: eater. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. The lion is the king because of what he believes about himself.
Now is the time to introduce the country of the day. Today's country is Niger. Please stay with us. Dear viewers of Africa in Change TV show, now is a guest side. I have a young guest who is really working on different areas and